Everyone, welcome to the show. So, here we go again. I mean, so much for making America healthy again, according to Trump and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Trump's Justice Department just dropped a lawsuit that was brought by the Biden administration. And it is the perfect example of how some states literally vote against their own best interests, and especially that of their children. So here's the deal. During the Biden administration, the Department of Justice filed a lawsuit against a company called Danka Performance Elastomer Plant. Or the company is Elastomer, and then there's a plant apparently in Laplace, Louisiana. They filed this lawsuit to try to protect Louisiana residents from cancer because Danka produces a synthetic rubber, which you've probably all heard of. It's called neoprene. You know, a lot of telephone cases, like cell phone cases, are made of neoprene. Well, their plant emits a toxic chemical called chloroprene. And the EPA says that chloroprene is a likely carcinogen. Well, homes and schools are located near this Danka plant. The air was tested around the Danka plant, and it showed that chloroprene levels are 14 times higher than what the EPA considers safe during an entire lifetime. So, in one day, in one test, they're finding levels 14 times higher than what they say is safe for a human being to be exposed to over their entire life. That is insane. That is off the charts, like so vile. You know, it's just cruelty at another level. It is irresponsible, like a million times over, right? To allow people to be exposed to something like this, even once, let alone 14 times higher than the lifetime, approved level of the EPA. So Biden's Justice Department sued. They demanded that Danka limit emissions from this plant, and they said you have to do it within 90 days. Well, the current administration, their DOJ, Donald Trump's Department of Justice, they just dropped the case. And they said it's because it falls under the DEI guidelines. So, I don't even know. I don't even know what to say to these people anymore. This is just, it is obscene. It is unconscionable what they're doing. So the reason they're saying that it falls under his DEI orders, or anti-DEI orders, I should say, is because Laplace population is comprised mostly of Black residents. And the Trump administration is scrapping all of Biden's environmental justice programs. So these were programs, this was an effort to reduce pollution in minority communities. And the Trump administration official released a statement saying, quote, "Today's dismissal reflects ENRD's renewed commitment to enforce environmental laws as Congress intended, consistently, fairly, and without regard to race. We do not regulate through litigation, nor do we stretch statutes beyond their plain meaning, to advance political agendas." Okay, I'm sorry, but they are doing the exact opposite of what they're saying. Because if this plant was in a wealthy white area, Danka would have been shut down by now. It wouldn't exist. It wouldn't have been built there to begin with. Let's be real. If this was a wealthy white area, they would have never allowed this plant to be built in this area. Wouldn't have happened. And I've mentioned this before, but it bears repeating. Louisiana has one of the highest minority populations and most unhealthy air and water quality. Companies know that residents there do not have the time, they don't have the financial resources, they don't have a means to fight back. And this is not just my opinion. In 2021, the American Lung Association published a report, and it said that people of color are 61% more likely to live in counties with unhealthy air than white Americans. That is done by design and by default, because again, white Americans won't put up with this, especially the wealthier areas. And Louisiana is particularly dangerous because I've mentioned this before too. It's home to an area known as Cancer Alley. This is because of all of the industrial plants that are pumping out cancer-causing chemicals. And Louisiana also has notoriously elected the most industry-friendly Republicans and even Democrats. Even Democratic representatives in this area sold out their constituents to big business. You guys might remember me talking in the past about Cedric Richmond. He is a perfect example. He used to be a U.S. congressman for Louisiana, sold out his own for money. So he acted absolutely no different than the Republicans, and then went to work in the Biden administration. I mean, seriously, talk about failing up. The guy is a scumbag. So, I feel bad for these children. I really do. Their parents made a monumental mistake in 2024, and it could literally cost their children their lives. Louisiana voted overwhelmingly for Donald Trump. And I know, there's gerrymandering that goes on. That doesn't really come into play with a national election like the presidential election. You do have voter suppression, so that is an issue. But repeatedly, year after year, election after election, they have voted for the Republican. And Donald Trump won over 60% of the vote in Louisiana. So it doesn't make sense. I mean, they really are seriously voting against their own lives and against the lives of everyone that they love. It's craziness. It is lunacy. So anyway, guys, this is why I said, everybody's so up in arms about what Robert F. Kennedy is going to do, or Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He is only going to be able to do as much as Donald Trump's wealthy donors allow him to do. So if anything comes into conflict with their goals, with wealthy investors and wealthy business owners, he's not going to be able to do it. He's not going to be able to pull off what he's talking about pulling off. And this is a perfect example of that, because I would venture a guess that Robert F. Kennedy Jr., with all of his faults, that he would want to clean up the air in this region. He has always been a big proponent of cleaning up the environment and for climate change issues, and how all of these big businesses, how all of these plants play a factor in that, and emitting all of these toxic chemicals into our atmosphere. So this is in direct conflict with what they promised. So once again, screwing over his own voters in Louisiana, screwing over the MAHA voters that really believed that he was going to make America healthy again, screwing over a lot of the Black voters who took a chance on him and voted for him, maybe even for the first time. So, yeah. Tell me again about, promises made, promises kept. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. Please please share, please definitely share so people understand this. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not. If you can donate, really appreciate it. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.